Good morning, dear students. Today we will start our next lesson, the lesson 6th, chapter 6, Mahavira and Buddha, the great preachers. Actually, this lesson is explaining about the emergence of two new religions in India. That's Jainism and Buddhism. So first itself we want to discuss about the social, political and economic religious conditions of India during or related as just before the rise of these two religions, Jainism and Buddhism. So that is the introduction, social conditions for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. What was the features and what was the conditions prevailed during that time, how it was led to the emergence of the new two religions, Buddhism and Jainism. Points 1 to listen. Actually, the end of the later Vedic age, we studied that it was ended up during the period of 1000 BCE to 600 BCE. It was marked by a number of social, political and religious changes existed there in India. The most significant of these was the rise of religious sects, that was the two religious features like as or philosophical features like as Jainism and Buddhism in the second half of the 6th century BCE. Remember, it was emerged, these two religions emerged during the period of 6th century BCE. The reasons or the following social conditions were responsible for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism in India. So the first it is the Vedic religious ceremonies and that had become too rigid and expensive. Hope that all are remembering. We studied about the different yajnas, Ashwamedha yajna, Rajasuya, Vajapeya, like that way. A few one we studied these ceremonies and these kind of rituals and ceremonies, they needed very expensive. Also it was to become rigid after the later Vedic period. They were beyond the means of ordinary people. Ordinary people can't think about how to meet the expense of these kind of religious ceremonies and all. That much expensive, too rigid and it become too expensive. Also, corruption and evil practices crept into religious practices. Going on time, corrupted means in the religious beliefs, ceremonies, rituals and all, too much corrupted and evil practices crept in. And this made the people look for alternative religious sects. So the people were compelled by themselves to change their beliefs. Like that way, they started to find another religious practice. And the caste system had become very rigid. Caste system, we know, we studied that Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, it became too rigid. We studied comparing to from the early Vedic period to the later Vedic period, it became too rigid. And here also means after the later Vedic period, it became too rigid. Some people were treated as untouchables, especially the Shudras, the lower caste of the caste system. And the new religious accepted these people, especially these considered by the upper class people as the Shudras, as the untouchables and all, they were ready to accept another religious practices. And most of the Vedic literature, we already studied the four Vedas, its subdivisions like Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads and all. These all kind of religious texts related as the Vedic literature. Everything it was composed in Sanskrit language. That one also we studied, which the common man could not understand. Actually, Sanskrit learning, it was not possible to the common man. And in the later Vedic age, animal sacrifices were made in large numbers. So sacrifices, it was very important during the later Vedic period. So it changed into animal sacrifices also increased larger way. Animals were useful to farmers, actually cattle and all, it was very useful to farmers. So people wanted to adopt a religion that would give protection to animals. So they needed a new religious practice. It must be protect the animals, not at all needed to do like as this animal sacrifices and all. So those people who opposed these kind of practices, those people needed to those people ready to accept a new religious practice. These are known as the reasons behind the emergence of the two new religions like as Jainism and Buddhism. Okay, students, only the introduction. What was the social conditions for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism? Just read the textbook after watching the video. Okay, thank you.